Okay guys, so I'm so sorry about that, but we seem to have popped off for a moment. I'm not entirely sure why. So I think that there are a few gremlins at the moment, which are annoying, especially when we're trying to do the rainbow game. So I don't know how much of that you guys actually saw. Can you let me know? I'll wait till a few more people have come into the room to let me know. So I don't know if I'm freezing again. What is going on today? We've got lots of gremlins. Lots of gremlins. So we may end up having to go back to our old school method. No, there we go. I'm not freezing too much. Okay. Sarah says it seems to be working now. That's good, good, good. Laura, thank you for joining us again here. Good morning again. Jim Boyle, thank you for joining us. We'll wait until everybody has located us again before we actually get started with this recipe. Sarah says possibly it's to do with the weather. I blame Brexit personally. There you go. Let's not get political. Yeah, sorry about the bugs in the system today. Khan says, what jokes do I crack today? I wonder. Hello, Chef Day. Okay, so let's just wait until a few more people are in the room. And can I just ask you guys, I was talking to you about the rainbow game, and I don't know if any of you actually heard that. I may have just been talking to myself, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, you know. I think all the best people talk to themselves, but Sarah says Brexit's to blame for sure. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, Karen, thank you for joining us over here, and Annie, thank you for finding us. Brexit jokes too early? Well, I mean, the whole thing's been going on for so long. So, okay, we'll wait until a few more people have come into the room before we get going, because I know a few of you guys are really keen on this recipe, really keen on this recipe. So, Lara, thank you for joining us over here, and here we go. This is the recipe that we're making today, Jaffa Cakes. So we've got this lovely kind of spongy, cakey dough that we're going to be making, and then inside that we've got some orange jelly that we will make, and then of course around the outside of that is our chocolate. So it's a fairly easy recipe. You know, you think that it's going to be a bit complicated. It's a bit faffy, I would say. Yeah, it's a bit faffy, but that's about it. Oh, Catherine said that hi. Catherine said hi. I forgot to buy some new Agar. Do you have enough for today's recipe or not? Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Brittany, welcome. And she looks delicious. They are. They're really good. They're really good. And Doug and Justine and Paul and Lara, thank you for finding us over here. I'm sorry about the gremlins in the system today, but we are back. And just say sorry, I don't have a rainbow for today. So instead we're going to play the rainbow game. So the rainbow game is this. When I was a kid at primary school, junior school, little school, really little school, you know, when you're like that high, we would sing the song and it would help us to remember all the colours. So it goes red and yellow and pink and green, orange and purple and blue. Yeah, okay. So the idea is that seeing as I don't have a rainbow, I'm being forced to sing. That's my punishment. But you guys have to be the first to say what I'm going to say next. So I will sing the song and you have to guess what the next colour is, essentially. Okay, did you get that? And quick off the draw. Colleen, are you ready for this? Okay. I will sing the song and then I will stop and you have to type in what the next thing I should be saying is. If you don't know the song, you can just guess something really random and that would probably be fun anyway. So, okay, right, let's start. Red and yellow and... Quickly. What is it? Oh, Colleen doesn't know that song, which means that somebody It was pink. It was pink. It's red and yellow and pink and green, orange and purple and blue. I can see a rainbow. I can smell a rainbow. I don't know. So Colleen has just outdone herself there because she doesn't even know the song and she still managed to get it right. So there we go. Triumphant once again. Once again. Okay. Right, okay, so Khan, just to say I'm really, really sorry about what is happening with you and your country at the moment. So we are all sending our love and hugs out to you. But you know, we are always here to brighten your day, and you know, we don't talk about a lot of serious stuff on the show, and the reason why is because we're here to take your mind off it. So I hope that we have been able to give you some sort of respite from all of the crazy stuff that is going on wherever you are, and also just to give you some sense of community and family, and you know, to put a bit more love and vegan food into your life. So yeah, sending out lots of love and hugs to each and every one of you wherever you are, and no matter what is happening in your family and your local area and your country at the moment. Okay, so on to today's recipe. We are making Jaffa Cakes. So if you guys don't know what Jaffa Cakes are, in the UK they are quite popular. So we have in the centre there, we have some orange jelly. Around the outside we have a bit of kind of like, it's halfway between a sponge and a kind of cookie type thing. So ours is a little bit softer than the pre-made stuff, and then around the outside of that we have chocolate. So you know, it's a really, really yummy treat, but as far as I know, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong with this, there is no vegan alternative. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any on my travels and on the various many vegan festivals that I've been to in my time. I haven't seen them. So this is your alternative, and also it's probably healthier than, it's way healthier than those regular Jaffa Cakes. I shouldn't say regular, the non-vegan Jaffa Cakes. That's almost as bad as saying the normal ones, which we don't do on this show. So let's not do that. Okay, so just having a look and see if there are any more questions. Justine, I'm very glad that I crack you up. That is what, yeah, that makes me very happy that I'm able to put a smile on all of your faces. Annie says you definitely have made every day a lot easier to bear. That's really, really lovely. Khan said the school has been some solace during these stressing times. It has been for a lot of people, me included. You guys have made my days so much brighter, so thank you for that. Sarah says, what can I use instead of orange zest? Okay, so you can use orange juice. They are traditionally made with orange flavouring in the middle, but if you want to go away from the recipe a bit, then you can put whatever flavouring you want in that jelly that's going to go on the inside. Completely up to you. Okay, Lara says, is it a cake or biscuit? No idea. I have actually made what I call cakeys, which is halfway between a cake and a cookie. So maybe it's a cakey. Let's just call it a cakey, yeah? Between us. Let's call it a cakey. Colleen said vegan is the new normal. Absolutely. I once had a food standards agency officer come around to my house and he called non-vegan food normal food. Yeah, that didn't go down very well at all. Justine, thank you for sharing all those lovely rainbow hearts. Sarah says I don't have oranges. Okay, you need something to flavour it with. You could use some spices, you know, putting some cinnamon in there would be lovely. You know me and spices. Or even just vanilla. You know, vanilla essence, you know, if that's all you have. But almond essence. So just something to make that jelly taste of something other than just sugar is what we're looking for. Doug said Jaffa is a beautiful part of the world in Tel Aviv. Is it? I think that it's named properly after the type of orange that's used. Right, okay. Colleen says, do you have pre-made orange jelly? No, Oh, right. Sorry, you're asking somebody else that. Okay. You're asking me that. Justine, like non-gluten being normal. Absolutely. Actually, we had a bit of a conversation about that the other day. Angelina says, my first live with you. And she's so excited. Are you cooking along? I do want to know. And I will bully each and every one of you until you cook along with one of the recipes. And I was actually thinking that, okay, guys, when it gets to our 100th birthday, and by that I mean we've been doing the shows for 100 days, then I was thinking that we could see if we could get 100 people cooking along. Do you think that's possible? Do you think that is possible? I don't even know when the 100th one is. I'm expecting that Paul will figure that out for me. Please, Paul. You're so good at things like that. But yeah, on the 100th day, it would be really lovely to see if we get 100 people cooking along. So we're going to definitely try and do that. Justine says, will you stop making me laugh? No. Sarah says, lime or almond essence, and how much? So lime would be lovely. Lime and chocolate go together really, really well. So use lime zest. Rather than the juice. Okay, let's get on to the recipe and get cooking. So I'm going to bring you guys over here. Right, there we go. Okay, so over here we've got our ingredients for our jelly. And then, of course, we've got the chocolate that is going to go on the outside, but we won't need that until later. So we'll just pop that to one side. And then just over here, we've got all of our ingredients for our batter. So this is what's going to make the dough. So first of all, we will start by making our jelly. So we're just going to make a really, really simple agar jelly. It's going to be quite a thick jelly. Which is what we need. It's going to be much easier to handle if it's thicker. Sarah says, you mean both lime zest and almond essence? I don't think so, Sarah. I think you need just one or the other. So just one or the other. I think that lime zest would be the best because it's going to not only rhyme, but we're using zest. So it makes sense, you know, to do like this very easy substitution. Angelina says that she's not cooking long at the moment as it's a little after 6 a.m. Okay, fair enough, but I hope that you can come and cook along another time. Denise said it would have been an easy peasy recipe for the 100th cooking show, and it's 7 a.m. here. We'll have to think of another one. We will have to think of another one. Laura Louise says, what can I use instead of tapioca flour? So you can either use something like potato starch. That's a real straight swap for tapioca flour. So potato starch, if you can get it. Yeah, that will be your substitution. And he says, sign me up as long as it's not baked cheesecake. Well, I would say with the baked cheesecake, it is something you have to try a few times. So, you know, kudos goes to those people who try it. Okay, right. We've got a cup of water here. So we'll just pop this into our pan. We're not going to put the hob on yet, because when you're making agar jelly, you don't want to heat it up until the agar goes in. So the agar has to go into cold mixture. So whether that's a plant milk that you're using or water or a juice, it has to be cold. So popping some coconut sugar in here. You can use any sugar that you like. It's just that I prefer to eat coconut sugar. So 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar in there. We've got our 2 teaspoons of agar powder. So you can use the more kind of bitty agar if you've got that, but you will need 3 times as much. So the ratio is 1 to 3. So, you know, you need 3 times the amount of this if you're using that more bitty, more flaky agar powder. So we'll just pop that into our pan here. And then we've got our orange. So I'm just going to zest that. So we're going to use the zest rather than the juice. You can use the juice as well if you want, but there is so much flavour in the zest that really that's all we need. Justine says, what's fruit sugar? I found it on Holland Barrett. So fruit sugar, well, actually there's 2 different types of fruit sugar. There is sugar that is absolutely made of fruit, so you know it's meant to be more healthy. it is meant to be more healthy. Whether it is or not, the jury's still out on that. Okay, so there we go. We've got our zest there, and that is going to give so much flavour to our jelly. So we don't need any of the juice. You know, we can save the juice for ourselves, but once you have zested any type of citrus fruit, you need to pop it in the fridge, because once it's zested, all its protection from going mouldy is gone. Yeah, Abigail, thank you for joining us, and thank you for the lucky bunny and the hearts. There we go. Nicholas Marriott. Thank you for joining me over here. Okay, yeah, so if you're going to use the zest of any of your citrus fruit, then just remember to put it in the fridge afterwards. You are going to have to use it fairly quickly still, even though it's in the fridge. Yeah, otherwise it will go off. Virginia, welcome. I didn't see that you joined. And Virginia says, what is the agar flakes to powder ratio? Can it only get flakes? Okay, so if you're using flakes, you need to use 3 times the amount that I'm using. Okay, I have just popped our pan on, just on a medium heat. I want to heat it gently and using a spoon to mix really well. And we can have a little chat actually about agar. Where are we? There we go. We'll bring you guys back to here. Okay, so agar is a seaweed and it has gelatinous properties basically. So it mimics gelatin, which is brilliant for us, obviously. But it comes in either a powder form or agar flakes. So it's more bitty. I mean, they're still very small. And with the flakes, what you can do is you can actually turn them into a powder yourself if you want to. So if you've got like a coffee grinder or a spice grinder or, you know, like a high-speed blender, something like that, you can actually turn agar flakes into agar powder yourself, which can be a good thing to do. It really depends on how you like to work with agar. So with this agar powder, I'm going to need to make sure that this bubbles away for at least 5 minutes. Maybe even 10. So I'm going to get it up to boiling point and then just reduce it to a simmer, let it do its thing for like 5 to 10 minutes. Now, the bonus of using something like agar flakes is that it actually tells you when it's done. So you can use a metal spoon, and it always has to be a metal spoon so that you can see the little flakes. So what you will do is you will dip your spoon into the mixture and pull it out, let all of the liquid drain off it, and then if there are any agar flakes left, you'll be able to see them. You'll be able to see them on the metal spoon. And so you do need a metal spoon for this because, you know, they really show up a lot better. And so you need to keep it bubbling away until pretty much most of those flakes are gone. You don't have to get rid of all of them, like every single one, but like 90% of them need to be dissolved. So that's the difference. So it depends, you know, some people like to do it one way, some people like to do it another. Just with this method, with the powder, just make sure that it's simmered for around 5 to 10 minutes. Now what you can do as well is if you get to a point where you're like, I'm not really sure whether it's all dissolved properly and it's cooked enough and it's going to set, is you can get a small amount of it out by just dipping your spoon into there and then just pop it on here. And then you can wait a few minutes, you know, a minute or two, and because it's such a small amount, it cools down very, very quickly. And when agar cools down to room temperature, that's when it sets. So it doesn't actually need to be in the fridge, but this is a really, really good way of you telling whether it has boiled enough, basically, or simmered enough. If you want to speed this up, this test up, then you can pop it into the fridge as well. Right, so I'm just turning that down because you know what this is like. Okay. Catherine says, water, agar, zest is in the pan. Yes, and sugar, Catherine, as well, and sugar. Doug says, how do I get zest off my best vest? Did that actually happen, or are we just doing this whole rhyming thing today? Which, do not make me do a show where every sentence has to rhyme with the next sentence. That would be hard. Rich, thank you for joining us today. We're having quite a good show already. Sarah says in Portugal, the Jaffa Cakes with all sorts of different flavours. Really? Orange, citrus fruits, berries are the main ones. I'm sure I have tried vegan, but we'll double check when you next go. That's amazing. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Okay. Sarah says my connection went down and missed what I said about Agar. Okay, so with Agar, the difference is between the powder and the flakes is really what you like working with. So I used Agar flakes for the longest time, and I got quite used to it because with Agar flakes, you can use a metal spoon to pop it in, bring it out and see whether any of the Agar flakes are still there, see whether they have dissolved or not, because we do want them, or the majority of them, to dissolve as much as possible, and that will help it set. So that's the main difference, but the ratio is 3:1. So in this recipe, we have said, what, two teaspoons, of Agar powder. So you will need 6 teaspoons of Agar flakes, okay? Right, so I think that this is just about done. I'm going to bring you guys over here so that you can see. I've got this nice flat spoon as well, which I really like using because sometimes things do get a bit stuck to the bottom of the pan here. I'm just going to let this bubble away a little bit more. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll do this test that I just told you guys about. So we only need like a small amount. So I'll just pop it there. See here. And then, well, actually, you can probably barely see that. Justine suggested a whole singing show. No way. No, that's mean. That's mean. Sarah says, did you say something about keeping it in the fridge? So, with Agar, you don't, it can set, it does set at room temperature. So you don't need to put it in the fridge, but if you just want to speed up the process, then you can put it in the fridge. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a little poke. And I don't know if you guys can see this actually, but when I push it, see, it's not liquid anymore. It's solid. So I only did like a little bit, but that tells me that this is going to set. So now we can pour it into our Tupperware. So you just need something that's around this size. We're going to be cutting 6 rounds out of it. Right, there we go. Okay, so if you guys are cooking along at home, you can reuse this pan. So later on, we will be melting chocolate. So I just gave it a quick rinse and then added some water to it. So we can just put this to one side for now. Okay, so, oh, a rhyming and a rapping show, jeez. You guys are getting a bit demanding, huh? Okay, so Colleen says, yay for Agar, now I can make vegan jello shots. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, right, let's bring you guys back over here. So we're just going to let this cool down, and once it's cool enough, I'm just going to pop it in the fridge just to kind of like speed things up. And we've got a new member, but I'm really sorry, but I'm going to struggle saying your name. Ash Glads. Sorry, that was probably awful. Now, whatever we're making, we always put above me, always above me. So whenever you guys come to our shows, you can see instantly, is it something I want to make? Is it something I just want to hang around for and just watch her making it? Or is it something I'm completely not interested in which case I'll go and watch something else. So we're making Jaffa Cakes today. So Jaffa Cakes are these lovely creations. We'll just snap back to it just for a moment so you guys who have joined a bit late know what the outcome will look like. Okay, right. Sarah says, how do I know if the gel is done? It's bubbled away a lot. Okay, Sarah, so basically what I just did there, I took a little spoon and I popped it into the mixture, pulled it out, and then just dabbed it on inside my Tupperware box, and then let that cool for maybe a minute or something like that. And then so I had a look to see if that had set, and it had set. But you also, you've got to think about the amount of time. So if it has simmered for 10 minutes, then you'll be good to go. You will be good to go if you're using powder, if you're using agar powder. Okay, so hopefully it hasn't reduced too much, but to be honest, there is quite a lot in here, so we can get away with it reducing slightly. Here we go. So now, once this is cooled down, it can go into my fridge. I'm just going to wait till it's you don't want to put anything that's too hot in your fridge, and really the reason for that is because we don't want to make the other things that are around it melt or go a bit weird or anything like that. So Justine says that would be funny. We should come up with ways of how you can present the show. Thanks for that, really appreciate it. Okay, so let's get on to the next bit. So if you guys are cooking along, then you can just pop your jelly just to the side until it's cool enough to go into our fridge. Right, now let's get on with making the batter. Oh, and by the way, guys, the reason why I've got a wine glass here isn't because you've driven me to drink. It is because I'm going to use this as my cutter. So I don't have any cookie cutters here because I took them all to the school, so don't have any at home, so I'm just going to use my glass. But you do, if you guys are cooking long at home, you need to make sure that you've got something that you can cut circles with, and they need to be small circles because this is our muffin tray that we're going to use to put the dough in, and so this needs to be small enough to fit in here. Yeah, so this needs to be small enough to fit in here. Oh, Sarah says, sorry about my internet. Hopefully seems fine now. Thanks for repeating. No worries. No worries. That is what we are here for. Okay, on to the batter. So we'll start with our gram flour. And Sarah, do let us know how you're getting along, and if you do, if you're struggling at all, or if anything's going a little bit differently than I say that it's going to. And actually, we can just pop all of our dry ingredients in. There we go. So that was our tapioca flour or potato starch and our coconut sugar. We've got a pinch of salt here, so that can go into. And then 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. There we go. Okay, and then we've got our wet ingredients there. So I'm just going to give this a really good mix. And I'm using a fork just because my coconut sugar is a bit lumpy. It's a bit lumpy. So Sarah says my muffin tray seems to be a bit smaller. Will it be the same? So basically yours will probably just be a bit taller than mine. That will be the only difference. But just do make sure that whatever you are cutting the jelly with, it's smaller than the muffin holes, because we need that jelly to fit in. Okay, so there we go. So just to recap, in here, I literally just popped our gram flour, our tapioca flour, a pinch of salt, baking powder, bicarbonate of soda, and our sugar. And then we can just add our margarine first. So with this recipe, it doesn't really matter what order you do all of that in. You can start just by creaming the margarine with the sugar, but to be honest, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. Okay, so we've got a few more people who've joined. Gloria, lovely to see you here again. Vicky, welcome. Kieran and David. Okay, so I'm just using that fork just to break up that margarine as much as I can. And David said, good morning. Good morning. So if you're saying good morning, whereabouts are you then? It's afternoon here, so do let us know. It'd be nice to find out where you're from. Quite often we end up with people who are from the same place or, you know, similar, you know, not too far away from each other. Okay, right, and then we'll just add our plant milk. So I'm just using soy milk. You can use any plant milk that you want to for this today. Okay. And this will be our batter. Now, when you get to this point, if it isn't that runny, just add a splash more milk. There we go. So if you see this, actually I'll bring you guys over to here. Okay, so with the runniness of it, I need it a little bit more runny than this. It's a little bit too thick. And you will see the reason for that once we get to filling the muffin pan. So I'm just going to add a splash more milk. There we go. Okay, and just make sure that that is mixed in really, really well. Now I'm going to move over to my spoon. I don't need my fork anymore. There we go. Oh, Abigail says she's a sleepy bunny today. Maybe you should make some Jaffa Cakes then. That'll wake you up. It's very exciting stuff. We're going to end up with 12 in my house, which is brilliant. Really good. I didn't realise how much I actually missed Jaffa Cakes until I made them. It was just one of those things that I didn't massively like when I was a kid. And actually, that's a really good question for you guys. So, are there any of these kind of sweet treats that you had when you were a kid that there isn't a vegan alternative? So that's a really, really good question for you guys. Are there any of those things from your childhood that there isn't a vegan alternative to yet? I would really, really like to know, because we could make them. I'm always happy to develop a new recipe, especially for you guys. Gail says, I'm just enjoying the subtitles, trying to keep up. Margarine becomes Modi. I don't even know what Modi is. The other day I was talking about Thai curry and it kept coming up as tiger curry. So, okay, right. So this is starting to set. This is our jelly. So now it's cooled down, it's not steaming everywhere. I'm going to pop it into the fridge. So if any of you guys are cooking along at home, then do the same as me now. Right, there we go. And that will just speed things up. But Agar will set at room temperature. You don't have to put it in the fridge. It's just because, you know, we're on a bit of a schedule here. And you guys, I'm sure, want to get on with the rest of your day. So, you know, we don't want to take too long. Virginia said, off topic, but green pans, are they okay for electric cookers? So yeah, I've got an electric cooker. That's what we've got. The top here. I don't think it's an induction one. That one isn't an induction one. This one is, but that one isn't, and it's fine on both. So Katie, thank you for joining us. So there's loads of big change happening with everybody in the Vegan Chef School at the moment. Katie's moving to Chester, and she found a house, on Thursday. Louisa, who's doing admin today, is moving to Italy. And Ingrid, who is one of our other assistants, is pregnant. So it's like all happening. It's all happening. Lots of like really amazing things happening to everyone. It's lovely. Doug said walnut whip. That's a good idea. That is a very good idea. And I think I know how to make that already. Yeah, I think I can do that. Luz, watching from Florida, USA, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I hope that you're enjoying our recipe. I've just managed to get batter on my mouse. So let's just clean that off. Right, there we go. now I've got a clean mouse. This happens to a lot of my computer equipment, by the way. Like, you don't want to see this iMac. Okay, so we've got a suggestion of Battenberg. That's a really good idea. Brittany says, I really miss good humour toasted almond ice cream bars from when I was a kid. They were my favourite thing to get from the ice cream truck in my neighbourhood, but I can't find any non-dairy options. Do you live in the UK? Because I've never heard of them, and they sound divine. They sound divine. Annie said marshmallow biscuits. I don't know about them. I think I had like a vague recollection of them, but I'm going to have to Google them. Rowena, thank you for joining us. We are making Jaffa Cakes today and talking about the treats and sweet things that we had as a kid that we can't find veganised yet. But this is a challenge to me and the other chefs on the show. Okay. So Sarah says, can you show gin the batter to see its thickness? I don't think you mean gin. I mean, I've got some gin in the cupboard, but I don't think you're talking about that. Can you show the batter? Okay, so basically you want me to show you the batter again. Okay, right. So it's pourable consistency. So you might just need to add a splash of milk. Sometimes it's fine, but sometimes it's just a bit too thick. Because with the muffin tray, we will need to kind of like move it around and make sure that it pours all the way around our orange jelly. And in fact, let's just move over here for you, Sarah, so we can see. In fact, this is probably like a little bit too thin, but it's all right. It's okay. But you should be able to, you know, move it around a bit. Okay, well, gosh, we've got loads more comments here. Okay, so. Oh, Brittany says that she lives in the States. Okay, so that is why I do not know this glorious treat that you are talking about. But definitely up for making it. Colleen says, yes, and the strawberry shortcake ice cream bars. Oh, that sounds amazing. Jammy Dodgers. Definitely. Justine, Jammy Dodgers. And Sarah says, you want to see the batter. She didn't want to see my gin collection. Okay. That's good because we'd be here all day. Right. Annie says they were oblong shape with pink marshmallow down each side and jam in the middle and sprinkled. Yes. Okay. Right. We have quite a list there for us to get to. Okay. Now let me see how our jelly is doing in the fridge. Okay. So I thought that I was being a bit too quick on that, but I'm not. It's done. We are still going to leave it to one side because we don't need it just yet. But yeah, that just goes to show you guys how quickly it sets. It does set really, really well. Okay, right. Now, we need to take some of our batter and we're going to put a spoonful into each muffin hole, and then we're going to bake that just to make sure that that bottom layer gets, you know, fully cooked because we don't want it to be raw. So we're just going to put a spoonful in each. So you just need to remember you don't want to use more than half of what is in your bowl here. So, and we are par baking it, just in the same way that we did with our pastry the other day, guys. And for exactly the same reason, because this is going to make sure that, that the bottom is cooked. We don't want it to be raw. As I said, raw ground flour is possibly one of the most disgusting things that is known to man. So, right, there we go. Now we're just wiping off the excess because otherwise that's going to burn. And now this is why we need the batter to be a bit runny, is because I'm just moving it around so that it gets to the sides. So just move it around at all different angles, not upside down, don't do that, but just gently. There we go. So it's really reaching all of those sides, and then we just want to pop it in the fridge. We don't pop it in the fridge. We pop it in the oven. That would make more sense. We pop it in the oven for around 5 minutes. So let me just go and do that, and then I'll have a look at your questions, because I can see there are a few comments and questions. And I'll bring you guys back here, because just like Nikki said yesterday, it is really weird kind of like talking to you guys, but without our faces being there, just like you seeing our hands and this kind of like omnipresent voice. So, you know, it's much nicer if we can come over here and you guys can actually talk to a face. That's always nice. Okay, so let me just go back and see any questions. Wagon wheels? Yeah, yes, definitely. I loved wagon wheels, but they definitely got smaller. They definitely got smaller. I don't think it was just that I got bigger. They did actually get smaller as well. I'm sure that's right, isn't it? And Karen says that she can't remember that far back. Oh, maybe we might be jogging your memory. Brittany says, I'm so excited to see these Jaffa Cakes assembled in the muffin tins. Good. It's a really fun recipe, Sarah says, I don't think mine is as stiff. Can you put finger on top without breaking it though? So with my jelly, I can kind of, where are you? There you are. I can poke it and it's firm. But the thing is, like, you might just need to let yours cool down a bit more. That's all, because yours might have ended up a bit thicker than mine, which means that, you know, it might need a bit more time. This is fairly thin. Actually, this is a really good angle because you guys can see how thin it is. But you might just need a bit more time on it, and that's absolutely fine, because we've still got another 5 minutes while that is in the oven. So, you know, don't worry about it. I don't want you to take it out too early. Okay, Justine says we're making you hungry. Good. That's our plan. Colleen said, is a tablespoon good enough? For what? What was that? What was that about? I don't know. Sarah says, how hot is the oven? So the oven is, sorry, I think maybe I said that in the previous live, the one that had to get stopped for some reason. It is on 180 degrees Celsius. So it's 180 degrees Celsius. If anybody knows what that is in Fahrenheit, I know it's gas mark 4. So is that like 370 Fahrenheit? And no, sorry, Virginia said, is your pan oiled? It's not, but mine is a very good non-stick pan that hasn't been used a huge amount, so it's still got a lot of its non-stickness left. And I know that you guys will know what I mean by that, because you probably had that before. Annie says, did you grease the tin? Yeah, exactly. I've used a really good non-stick. Sarah says, did you use all the batter? No, I didn't. I'm sorry, you seem to be having like a few kind of like cuts in and out, which is really annoying when you're actually cooking along. So I used just a spoonful of batter in each of those holes. So we're just going to cook the bottom layer first, and then we'll put the jelly on top, and then we'll put the other batter on top, and then we'll bake it. Fran, thank you for joining us. Christine, I missed the temperature of the oven. So yes, that's 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Sarah says mine is deeper. So I think that is referring to this. So if your jelly is deeper, then it might take a bit longer to set. And also, if you have used Agar flakes, then, you know, if they haven't all completely dissolved, then it won't set as quick, basically. Sorry, Colleen, you were talking about how much of the batter to put into the muffin holes. Yes, it was around a tablespoon. But just make sure that you don't use more than half of your batter. You know, roughly half of your batter. Catherine is making a double batch. That's a very good idea. Oh, Colleen says 180 degrees Celsius is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's great. Oh, and Gloria pointed out a very good point that I never actually include on our recipes, which is it is 160 degrees Celsius if you use a fan oven. I must start including that. Khan said, Chef Day, I had your tarts for lunch yesterday. It was amazing to cook. Was worth the effort. Good. Did your mum like them? I would really like to know. We really want to get your mum having one of our recipes that you've cooked one day and saying, that is amazing. Okay, that's our aim. That is our aim. Together we can do it. Together we can do it. Okay, so let me just check what is in the oven and see if those bases are done yet. So just going to put this here in case we need to bring over our muffin tin. Okay, yeah. There we go. So I can feel these and they're a bit springy and they're pretty much done. So that's what we're looking for there. Okay, so Anne said I haven't found gluten-free vegan Jaffa Cakes anywhere and I love them. Good, good, good. Okay, and Carl said that his mum did like the recipe, so that's brilliant. That's really, really good news. I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased to hear that, Carl. Okay, so now these bases are done, we can just set them to one side and we can cut our jelly. So if you guys are cooking along at home and your jelly isn't quite set, you can just, you know, pause and watch what I'm doing. So we've got a jelly here and I've got this good flat knife that I use quite a lot actually in the kitchen. I mean, it's just something that I picked up from a charity shop, but it's very, very useful because it's very, very thin. So I'm just going to pop this along the side here, loosening it. And then one thing that I often do to make sure that it's loosened underneath as well is I will pop the knife in one side. You guys can see that. And then I'll just push it away. Okay, and by me pushing it away, what it means is that it's actually lifting it up. Do the same. And I just want to double check that, you know, it's completely loosened and also it's completely set as well. And now that we've done that, we can just pop it out onto our board. There we go. Okay, and that is our orange jelly. So we just need to cut it into rounds now, and I will use my glass. If you use a glass, do be careful, especially with glasses that are quite thin. There we go, and this is what we're looking for. This is the orange jelly that we want to put inside. So it is fairly thick. It is fairly thick. I think it's thicker than what is in other Jaffa Cakes, the ones that I don't make, the ones that, is it McVitie's actually? Is it McVitie's that make them? I think it is. There we go. So we just need 6 rounds. Okay, so we can just take this off, and of course you guys can actually eat this, you know, you don't have to like let it go, but we'll just pop it to one side for a moment. It's like one of those like weird jelly toys that you had when you were a kid. Right. Yuck. Okay, so we have our rounds here. So we'll just bring our muffin tray back over. And you will also need your batter. So we can pop our jelly into each of the muffin holes. There we go, and just try to make sure that they are in the centre as much as possible, because you can see with these there isn't much space between the edge of the jelly and the side of the cavity. There we go, so just trying to make sure that they're in the centre as much as possible. There we go, and then we've got our batter and just giving it a bit of a mix. Sometimes it can clump up a little bit, and then taking a spoonful and popping it into each muffin hole. So I'm using a soup spoon here, so I can't say that it is exactly, you know, a tablespoon or anything like that, I'm afraid. But what I would say is if you are worried about this amount of batter stretching over all of these holes, then just use small amounts and then add to it. So I can see that the batter, you know, whether the batter is enough for each one. And I'm just kind of like trying to guide it so that it goes down the edges as well, because we do want that orange jelly to be sealed in. So we want the batter to roll down the side of that jelly. So just encouraging it with the back of my spoon. There we go. So just trying to make sure that there is still batter left on the top as well. So I can see that this one needs a bit more. There we go. There we go. So now this can go into the oven for around 10 minutes. So it's just about 10 minutes until you see that the batter on top, the dough on top has started to go golden brown. But you don't want to overcook it. You don't want to overcook it. If we cook it too much, then the jelly that's inside, it may start to seep out. It may start to seep out. So only for around like 10 minutes. So it does really help the fact that we have baked that bottom layer as well. So let's just pop that into the oven. I'll give it a bit of a clean before it goes in there. Just get rid of those drips. There we go. And of course, here is one I made earlier. Annie says, you always make what you make easy. You always make, oh, I make it look easy. Yeah, well, I've done these things a few times. But I want it to make it look easy to you guys so that it will encourage you to make it. So, right. Now, let's pop our water on. We've got our chocolate here. There we go. So we've got a few latecomers as well. We've got Hashad, welcome, welcome, and Tristan, welcome, welcome, welcome. And Doug said, so helpful seeing how you sealed the jelly with the batter. No problem, happy to help. Okay, so just going to put our raw halo chocolate in here. So this is our raw halo chocolate, which I'm absolutely in love with. So there you go. And this is their milk, spelled M-Y-L-K. So we're just going to let this heat up. And you can, as long as you're going to keep an eye on your chocolate, you can allow the bottom of the bowl to be touching the bottom of the pan. That's absolutely fine, but you just need to make sure you keep an eye on it and it doesn't burn. Okay, so Colleen says that she needs to make more batter. Oh no! Oh no, you didn't have enough. You didn't have enough. Okay, right. Now, whilst this is cooking, I just wanted to announce something really, really exciting to you guys. I'm excited about it. You guys should be excited about it. And that is that on Monday, we will have a very, very special guest, which is Dr. Gemma Newman. So, we did have a chat the other day about Dr. Gemma, and we mentioned that she's a really, really great source of wonderful information on vegan nutrition. And I know you guys have a lot of questions about vegan nutrition, and so she is vegan herself and she is a great advocate. So she has, as you can see, you know, a very, very active Instagram account. So if you haven't checked her out there, then please do. But she will be with us on Monday. So the deal is that I'm going to make something. So you'll get some extra time with me, but also then we will have her joining us online. So she'll be on her Zoom call and she can interject and tell me how amazing health-wise the food that I'm making is. So please do come with your vegan nutrition questions, okay guys? So I know that you probably have loads of questions that you wish that you could ask to somebody who knows what they're talking about, but it's also vegan themselves, so they're very understanding of us having this diet. And you know, not all GPs can be like that. So it's great, 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 great. I'm really, really excited. So same time, same place, just with an extra person. So okay. Sarah says, will 70% chocolate be too strong? No, no, no. If that's what you like, I really like dark chocolate. The darker the better. Even like 99%. Oh yeah. 99% is really, really good. So, you know, however you feel, that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Oh, Karen is also excited about Dr. Jaffa coming on, and Sarah as well, and Paul. And Virginia says, can I show my chocolate? So do you mean the chocolate melting, or do you mean the actual packet? I can do both. I can do both. Good. Sarah says my gel is perfect now. That's brilliant. That's really, really good news. I'm really pleased. Paul says more technology for Monday. Yeah, we're kind of piling it on here. Honestly. Okay. So when you're melting chocolate, the more that it is resting against the bottom of that bowl, the quicker it will cook. So that's why I've laid it out in the way that I have, so that it can cook a bit quicker. Now, if you are using just an eating chocolate, then it may go a bit too thick. If you're using a cooking chocolate, it should go very, very thin, and then you can just kind of like pour it over your Jaffa cakes. But if it goes too thick, then what you can do is either you can add a little bit of hot water, so just take a bit of hot water from the pan and pop that in and it will make it runnier. Or you can actually use its thickness, which is what I'm going to do today. Okay, so Virginia was asking to see the packet. There we go. So this is the Raw Halo milk and vanilla chocolate that I'm using today. It's really, really nice. I don't generally like sweet chocolate. I prefer the dark stuff. But that one I actually really, really like. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this down a bit. Paul says, so Dr. Gemma will be joining you on Monday at noon. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. She will be joining me. So she's got some really, really wonderful insights into vegan nutrition. She comes and does a talk at the school every term. So our students get to ask her their questions, and she just has like such a good way of talking about nutrition it makes it understandable. It makes it understandable and interesting as well. Really interesting. Okay. So Paul says, what is Dr. Gemma's surname for a Google search? So it's Newman, N-E-W-M-A-N. Doug says, what milk does that chocolate use? I'll have to have a look, babe. So it doesn't. So it's raw. I don't know if you guys can see that actually. You might be able to just, no, the writing's too light. Raw cacao butter, coconut sugar, raw cacao powder, creamed coconut, lucuma powder, and natural vanilla flavour. Sarah says my gel is so thick. Oh, is that why you don't have enough batter maybe? Okay, so this is pretty much melted, and I don't know if you guys can see actually how thick this chocolate is when it's melted. It's not going to get any thinner than that. So I'm going to use its thickness and paste it on as much as possible. There we go. So I'll start by just doing the tops and the side, and then I'll have to let them set, and then I'll do the bottom. There we go. So just want to make sure that we're not pasting it on too thickly, otherwise we won't have enough chocolate for all of the sides. And this gets messy. There is no way to deal with chocolate and it not be messy. So, and if you hear me licking my fingers, I apologise, but I mean, who could make this recipe and not lick their fingers, right? You'd have to be a robot to do that. Okay, so I'm just getting small amounts and then just kind of painting it on, basically. But because it's quite thick, it's allowing me to do that. There we go, guys. Oh, Catherine said, my jelly has dent shapes in from the Tupperware. Yeah, that would happen. But you can use, you can use that to your advantage. So if in the future you want to make like a shaped jelly, or you want it to have a pattern, you could definitely use that. So, and actually, the thicker it gets, as long as we can kind of paint it on, it's actually very, very helpful. Very, very helpful indeed. But you guys don't feel like you have to get this particular chocolate. You can use any chocolate that you want on this. So we do want to leave a bit of the chocolate for the bottom. So that's why I'm being quite reserved with how much I'm painting on to the Jaffa Cakes. But you just need a thin layer around it. You do need a thin layer. I think one of the things that people found with Jaffa Cakes is that they could be a bit too sickly. And so, if we don't put a huge amount of chocolate on, you've still got that chocolate flavour, but they aren't going to be really sickly. Right, there we go. So guys, I will continue to do the rest of these. I will continue to do the rest of those, and then once these have cooled down completely, and do leave them out at room temperature to cool down, don't put them in the fridge. Chocolate can go a bit of a funny colour if you cool it down too quickly, and then I will flip them over and do the other side. So let me just come over here and see if we've got any more questions. Sarah says, if chocolate is more liquid, would it look better to pour it on top? Yeah, you could either pour it on top, or you could use a pastry brush. That would also work. And Sarah said, I had enough batter. Good. Batter panic over. Good. Okay, guys. So I'm just going to actually have a look in the oven and see how my Jaffa Cakes are doing. Okay. And these are done. I just want to show this to you guys without getting chocolate everywhere. There we go. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. I think that they were in for about 10 minutes. They've got a bit of colour. You can definitely see around the edge. But we've just stopped it before the jelly starts bubbling out. We don't want the jelly to bubble out. Okay? So once these get a little bit cooler, you can run a knife around the edge and take them out. So there we go, guys. Anne said, can we just put chocolate on the top and leave the underside bare? Yeah, absolutely. If that's what you want to do, then that's completely fine. You can just do it that way. I want chocolate all around mine. And in fact, next time I might try and put chocolate on the inside as well. That'd be good. That would be good. But yes, you can absolutely do that. If you want to. And also you could just do drips of chocolate on the top, like that type of thing. If you prefer to do that, absolutely fine. Christine said, oh dear, my jelly could double as vinyl floor covering. Oh, it's really firm, is it? Really firm. Did you use Agar flakes or Agar powder? It'd be really interesting to know. Right. Okay, guys. That is it for today. I'm glad that you enjoyed our Jaffa Cake recipe. I will share the live into our group, the Community Hub, later on today. But just to say, I'm really way behind. I'm so behind in sharing the recipes that we've been doing on this page in the Community Hub and adding the written recipe. So I really apologise for that. We're just gearing up for our Pro Chef course, our first Pro Chef online course. So I have been a bit inundated with getting that together. But if there are any recipes that you've been looking for the written recipe for, you know, we've done the live and you're like, I really want to do this, but I want the written recipe for it, and you've been hunting for it, then let me know. Just let me know and I'll sort it out. And I'll do it for you guys. For you guys, anything. Okay, Christine said that she used the powder from Waitrose. That is exactly the same powder that I used. Exactly the same. So the quantities should have been the same. Should have been the same. I mean, mine is quite tough. It is quite tough. But it isn't that tough. So I don't know why yours turned out so tough. But see what they're like once they go into the batter and they're cooked, because they do soften a little bit. Virginia said, thoroughly enjoyed it. Good, good, good. And David, thank you for joining me and spending this time with me. Catherine said, mine too. I think I let it simmer too long because I made a double batch. Yes, that might be why that happened. Annie said, really enjoyed the Jaffa Cake recipe. We'll definitely try it. Good, good, good. I'm really glad that you guys had such a laugh today with me. It's been an absolute joy. So please do join me again tomorrow for a really lovely stew recipe where we will be making a spice mix first. So, you know, it's good to talk about how to make spice mixes and how to have them as like go-to ingredients in your kitchen, just to make cooking a bit easier for you. So thank you so much and have a lovely day.